Hey guys, and welcome back to another What If here. Today we are doing another new What If. I seem to be on a roll of doing new ones. Hopefully this may be my last new one. I don't know, I do want to do, some of the other ones, bring more parts to them, so keep on adding new ones. Anyway, so this What If is called What If Minato became Naruto. And what do you mean by that? Well, you will understand in a second when I get into this. Yeah, also, one thing I probably should say is that Naruto is going to be female, as the female What If series I do on here seem to get at least maybe more views or that. So yeah, I'm going to do it female. If you guys want me to do a male version, tell me in the description down below and I will. But I just feel like, I don't know, this will add more differences compared to like canon and other stuff. Anyway, let's get into this. So, everything would kind of be the same like with the Sage of Six Paths, as well, nothing really would be like different for the child prophecy. The child prophecy would be born with red hair, so like pretty much Kusuno's head. So instead of spiky blonde hair, it would be red flowing hair, and with blue eyes. So yeah, and well, so of course we'd cut to. Well, the buff Naruto would still go the same up until Minato sealing it. So Minato would, of course, do the hand, seal half of Kurama, the Yin Kurama, into himself, and then he would obviously be doing the Yang, as then Kurama sees what he's doing as he throws his paw or finger towards Naruto to kill him, to kill the baby, as Minato and Kusuno, of course, jump in front, sacrificing themselves to, of course, already sacrificing themselves, but even further to, of course, save their child. But little did they know that pretty much an hour from the birth, Naruto would die, because he was pretty much born without a soul, meaning nobody was inside. So he would have just died an hour later. And yeah, but of course he would do the he'd already have done the death seal, but when he goes to seal the other half into Naruto, it would of course transfer. It would pull, of course, over, and then Minato goes to seal at least part of his chakra, but instead, because the Reaper already, can tell that this child's only got, maybe 15 minutes left. So he kind of instead, he kind of does something cheeky and pours Minato's spirit inside. So when Minato himself dies, his actual body, he would then end up waking up in Naruto's. But yeah, but also what he didn't realise is that Kurama's blood also dripped onto Naruto, which kind of say created an aura inside in the cell itself. So of course the Reaper was going to do that, but instead pretty much Minato had already accidentally done that because of the Nine Tails' blood, Kurama's blood creating an aura. But yeah, of course, Kurama would be sealed inside, because of course he'd still seal, a decent portion of Kusuno's chakra and a bit of his chakra inside of Naruto. As of course Hiruzen would run over, as Minato would pretty much die right then and there. But what the Reaper did was, the second of course Minato like died, like, you know, because he'd wake up as a baby, but it'd be like around an hour like after. So yeah. Yeah, and of course, like Kushina would say, you know, well, she'd at least start saying, you know, like, what she kind of does to the Furikage, to Hiruzen, but little did she know that, because of kind of like Kuma's blood kind of interfering, it switched, of course, Naruto's gender to female, but also his kind of biology. So instead of having like a mindset of, say, Kushina, but the appearance of Minato, it'd be the appearance of Kushina, but the mindset of Minato, or just like the smartness. He had, say, like, he, of course, still being a tactician like he was when he was like in a fight, but he'd be just straight up like if he did add spirit, he'd be naturally like really smarter than Shikamaru, like even rivaling his dad. So yeah, as of course the Furikage, you know, would listen to her wishes, but the one thing she didn't say was that the Nine Tails was sealed inside of, well, I don't know. So, no, of course she would still say that, of course Minato sealed half the Nine Tails inside of Naruto, and that as she dies, as he goes over to pick baby Naruto up, as he realizes that, well, Naruto is a female and not male. As of course he kind of thinks that, you know, like they were dying, so like she could have gotten like the gender wrong and that. So yeah, and well, and I would go by, and of course, like, you know, the Armbu and the other civilian, well, not the civilian, but the other ninjas that are like not injured are, of course, like helping out, finding if there's any like dead and that, and anyone injured, and that, as you know, he's kind of like, he's got, you know, Naruto like in the crib in his office, as he's just wondering like what does he do with like baby Naruto. As then, of course, well, like, you know, Naruto would open his eyes, which is Minato, and Minato, he can like, it's like blurry, but of course he can hear a lot better, and he can obviously smell slightly better, because that's, you know, down to, of course, like Kuma's influence, when of course he was being made in Kushina. Yeah, technically females do make a baby. Yeah. Anyway. And yeah, so yeah, and he's, of course, like, Hiruzen would walk over and go, Naruto, seems like you're awake. I guess you're like hungry. I just like thinking, wait, no, this can't be right. No, as he then kind of remembers that a bit of Kuma's blood was on like the seal, as he's like, damn it, the Nine Tails' blood like caused an error, or a fatal error, and it's like now it's like my spirit and Naruto's spirit has been swapped. Damn it. And of course he would remember a story, like a kind of like a story that Kushina told Minato, that you know, like, it's like, of course, you know, there's like clan bloodline, but then there's like individual bloodline within the clan, and like Kushina's, like one of Kushina's descendants like, you know, she would tell the story to Minto, that, you know, like a long time ago, there was a person that had a child, and he tried selling some inside of him, but with the Reaper Death Seal, but it went wrong. But his child was born soulless, and a soulless baby would die within an hour. But the, of course, Reaper instead sealed his soul inside of the baby, so when, of course, he died, he woke up in the baby, and well, once he turned 4, the Reaper came back to tell him, you know, that he is, you know, like, you know, the baby had no soul in the beginning, so, and, you know, it would have only lasted an hour before dying. And the Reaper said there's, like, you know, there's 2 other, say, circumstances that could have happened. If, of course, there's, you know, the standard one, you seal something in and it takes your soul, or there's, like, if you say, if there's an error but it seals your soul in, plus, of course, you know, like, the child's obviously soul is still fine, you'd go out and seek the person's lover, and if that person is dead, then it would go for the person's enemy. So, yeah. As, of course, like, you know, that story is kind of going through Minato, as Minato is like, no, and, of course, it'd be, or if the kind of, or if they somehow swapped souls, like, last minute, then the Reaper would return once they're 4, like, you know, 4, and it would take Minato, like, it would take the soul back that should have had them replace the soul that was inside that body at birth, would be put in. And, of course, Minato's just hoping, you know, that option is that, you like, this seal kind of got corrupt, and, you know, it accidentally swapped their souls, something like that. Hoping that, you know, Naruto's soul was just accidentally swapped. Yeah. But of course, yeah, we know otherwise. And he will once he turns 4. Well, Naruto turns 4. As, of course, you'd call in, like, his receptionist, as, of course, like, you know, his receptionist generally doesn't mind Naruto, even though, even though she was, well, yeah, she didn't really care even when she found out that, that Naruto had the Nine Tails Fox sealed inside. She still wouldn't care about Naruto, because, as she can, you know, she knows that there's a difference between the object that it's sealed in and the object that is, well, no, she knows there's a difference between the seal, like the jailer, and what's inside the jail. So, yeah, you know, it's like, of course, like a couple, like, the glass doesn't become water and water goes in it, or water does become glass, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, and of course, as Minto be thinking, well, why can't Husen, you know? Well, no, because like, his diaper would also need changing. Well, her diaper would need changing. As Husen's also like, oh, and I'd say your diaper also needs cleaning. As you'd go, yes, Okage, you called me. So, like, could you feed and change Naruto's diaper? As she goes, oh, yes, Hokage-sama. As, of course, she understands that, you know, he doesn't exactly want to be a pervert, even though it's, you know, a baby. But yeah, as of course, like, she would come as hers and would leave, like, just leave the office quickly until she's finished. As Minato's like thinking, why did he leave? You know, he's had his own sons. So, like, why? As, of course, he'd quickly get his answer. As she goes, oh, you really did a stink one, didn't you? Well, no, not from that. Oh, yeah, she'd go, oh, you've done a little stinker. You're definitely trying to stink us all out, aren't you? Aren't you, Naruto? As, yeah. As, of course, she'd, of course, change the diaper and then go, well, I guess you're hungry. Also, as she'd then breastfeed her, yeah, and when, of course, like, she's finished, like, eating, while feeding, she'd go, oh, you know, you're a good girl, you're quite, well, yeah, you're a good girl, I guess, to be expected from the Uzumaki clan. All Uzumakis tend to have quite the good appetite. As he hears good girl, as he then immediately thinks that that's, you know, another issue that, of course, Kuma's blood caused, being demonic and that. As he's just like, damn it, I should have stopped the ceiling and cleaned the bed. I didn't have time, as I was impaled, he's thinking to himself. As he's just like frustrated and that he's angry at himself. But it's like he's at least got some, you know, hope that, of course, he thinks Susan, you know, is going to look after him. As, of course, you know, you just hear Kusina like ask that of Susan, as he would, you know, say he would, which, of course, we know he won't. Yes, he would be put in an orphanage. Well, she would be put in an orphanage. Yeah. And, well, yeah, of course, sometime later, as, like, he'd call a council meeting with, of course, baby Minato, as he would explain kind of everything, and they'd, of course, wonder, you know, who's that baby that, as he'd also explain, as, like, you know, well, like, as, you know, you'd say that, you know, I'm busy and I'm probably gonna have to end up, you know, and I'll be reinstated as the Okage, and because that I'm gonna have no time to look after him, I think the best place to put him would be in the adoption, in the adoption center for for babies or children with no parents to be able to get adopted. As, you know, as, of course, like, the council knows of Naruto's parents, and as, of course, Donzo just wants to make him, you know, a power, just like a tool for power, and some others just want him dead. But there is, of course, like, two people that want to adopt Naruto, which are more so, one is Kusuna's friend and one would be like Minato's friend. So, yeah, so the Uchiha and, well, yeah, the Uchiha clan and, like, another clan, I forget the name, but it's like the one with, like, who works with the dogs. Yeah. And, as, of course, Minato's happy, but he's also just, like, sad. He's angry that, you know, of course, Houson's just going straight up put him into the adoption centre without, like, you know, they've offered, you know, yeah. He also knows that if his status of being, you know, Jinchuriki, or Naruto's status of being Jinchuriki leaks out, he knows that Naruto is just gonna have like hell, especially in the orphanage. They'll probably won't even look after him, which is pretty much almost exactly what happened. But it's at least because like say when he's around like say 5 months after, so he's been in the orphanage for around 5 months, as of course the rumors had got out by then, because of Donzo. And of course not Sasuke, Kakashi's been like that all the time, just in the shadows, because as somebody would try and kill him, as he'd see all of a sudden a grey-haired boy rush in and knock the girl out, or rather the person out, as he goes, don't worry there, Naruto, you're safe. I'll always protect you, as that was your father's last request for me. My last mission from him was to make sure you grew up safe, and that's what I'm gonna do. No matter what the Hokage or civilian council say, that is what, my mission. Yeah, so he would continue to at least watch over Naruto for for of course up to the 4 years where they kicked him out, but before that, because Minato, after around 2 months in the orphanage, after a month in the orphanage, he kind of got bored of the routine of eat, sleep, eat, and sleep, so he decides to throw in another thing and do training whenever he's not needing to eat or have his diaper changed, even though his feeding was irregular. But the only reason why it was kind of regular was because Kakashi would always, Kakashi or even the person at the Hokage's kind of desk would, at the front desk, would always go and sneak in secretly and feed Naruto. But and of course they both know that the orphanage is going to kick Naruto out the second he turns 4, as they just hope when he turns 4 they could find him before before he goes missing or that, so that either they could adopt him or bring him to the Hokage's office or something like that. But in in the meantime, so from say he's type skip to 1, so he's had he's been doing pretty much some just mental chakra training mentally to get kind of used to try to get better at, of course, his chakra, because in the baby's chakra, because he kind of realises that Naruto's got at least getting into tuning chakra reserves right now, and he's a baby, as of course he thinks he's just thinking to himself jeez, Naruto, you've got one heck of a chakra reserves. But he also thinks that he's got to think of a name, a female name for him, as by this point he's at least able to look in the mirror, as he's seen the the red hair countless times, as it's been flowing like Kushina's is, as he kind of thinks to himself, Ruby would be a good name, because it's the same colour as a ruby. He would think to himself, as then when he of course turns 2, he's still been doing the chakra training, but he's oh right, I still Kuma inside of him, didn't I? Maybe there's a possibility that, well no, he of course goes 9 tails, he thinks 9 tails. like, oh right, I'm still 9 toes inside of him. Maybe maybe Naruto spirit was, like just trapped inside the thing, and if I can get the 9 toes' help, maybe I can, maybe he could find him if he's inside here. As he would kind of meditating for the first day, it was a complete fail, but then the next day he went down as Minato kind of looks down and he's like, oh, I'm in my own body again. As he'd breathe so release, but he'd walk over, he'd continue, he'd run down as, you can't see his light, and he hopes that just, is Naruto's soul or that. As it goes up to a big gate that, of course, has, the country for silling in the middle. As Kurama kind of lashes out, it's just like, damn you, Fukage, why are you here? As he's like, dying down, as he would kind of stumble out his words, but he'd explain kind of what happened and that, and he'd make a deal that he would give him his yin half back if he were to help him at least just see if Naruto is inside the sill itself or that. Asuma kind of ponders as he's thinks being only half myself is a bit weird, but being able to have my whole self, just goes, fine, you've got yourself a deal. As but before that you must rip off the seal. As me to say, I'm not going to do that. It's listen before listen to the whole thing first. You only need to rip off as much as your fingernail of the seal to allow me to be able to probe your memories of what Naruto, at least roughly, at least to what Naruto looks like, and I would see if I can find him. Let's say he'd go, okay, this is the best option. As he'd float up to the seal and rip off a little piece, he'd rip off a little piece, and as Kuma's okay, you can leave now, leave me, and I'll contact you when if I've found anything else out. As Minato goes, alright, I'm leaving. As he leaves, and Kuma starts sifting through Minato's memories, as in some parts he feels just straight up depressed. He would straight up feel depressed, sad. Some parts he feels happy. He's just feeling mixed, going through Minato's emotions, and he's damn, he really, who's really just he thinks the old man said, father said, of his teachings, peace. That's what he always strived for, but he was only had roughly a year in office, so he never managed to change nothing. He didn't really change nothing. But Kuma just thought to himself that if Minato would have stayed alive for longer, or had been, the Hokage for longer, he could have changed. Who knows what he could have changed? I maybe could have been even allowed to be set free and that. But he kind of thinks getting Naxum sort of always being greedy, but because then he goes to kind of more to kind of catch up to his later years, as kind of realises that Minato's never been the one for power. The only reason why he learned, like, he was, like, getting power and learned the Flame Raijin was, to get the respect of his, like, village. And that as, like, kind of, thinks maybe not, he isn't, like, one for power. You just have to wait and see. As he continued to sift through, as that would take a good month or two. As of course Minto's still doing his doctrine, and by this point because he's not able to see. Normally it's not blurry now. As when anyone kind of came in, he'd always be tracking, watching them. Or that, or just would stare up into his own imaginary world. Yeah. And that can continue to happen until he's around, then we'd cut a month later as Kuma kind of goes, "Oi, full Hokage, you there?" I was just like, "What?" I was just like, "Yeah, Ninetales, I'm here. Interesting. You can talk to me just via the mind, huh? Did Krishna ever really talk to you?" I was just like, "Hey, get down here. I've got something to tell you." As means it's like, all right. As he meditates, as he then goes into his mindscape, as he walks up to the, of course, Kuma, as Ninetales is like, "Well, yeah, I kept up my side of the promise last time for yours. I haven't found them inside the seal at all. Like inside the seal formula and without. But the one thing I did find was this. It looks odd." As me says, yes, well, some of your blood kind of got onto it and caused, Naruto to become a female. And, for this situation to happen, it's like, well, yeah, anyway, I want my yin half, as me says, like, well, you're kind of gonna have to wait until I'm 4, as he's like, "What? Well, if you've sifted through my memories," it's like, well, only the ones that were, of course, relative to, Naruto and what he looked like. I just mean to go, as then he, explain what I just said, what he thought about. As Krishna, not Krishna, as Kuma's just, he goes, "Fine, I'll wait a year. But you must not, you must keep your promise, because I kept mine, and it's time for you to keep yours." I was just like, I will, I promise. I promise, Ninetales, I promise. As, well, yeah, and, then we'd cut to, he's around 4 years old. It's his, it's around, early in the morning, as they just kick him out, as, well, yeah, they don't want, what they call, the demon brat to be in there anymore. As, of course, sadly, Kakashi and the other person, they're still asleep. So, Minato, of course, he thinks, well, this is lucky. At least I can, go into the forest and, get some food and that, and find shelter, as he finds a cave not too far from Konoha. Really, it's right next to it, as it's quite, it's got a decent, cave. It's not that deep, but it's decent in size at least. So he kind of sets up some security seals and that, and yeah, then he goes off, gets some, goes to get some fruit and that, and food and hunt, and yeah, and he of course does that for around 5 months. Yeah, as then as Harrison is just like mad, and he's just like, how comes you can't find out? It's like, well, when we went there to check up on him, he wasn't there. He wasn't there for the Kage. And we've looked all over the place and we can't find him. The locals have said that they've occasionally seen him from time to time. He kind of sighs, is like, my Hombu can't find a 4-year-old child. What good are they? I guess I'll just have to do it myself. As he kind of think, as he also kind of just thinks, like, I guess they should go back and go, like, and learn truly how to find someone. As he kind of like said that out loud, as like all the Hombu in the room kind of just, oh no, he's joking, is he? As like it would take him 3 days, but he'd manage to find Naruto. But after his birthday, so back with Naruto / Minato, or Ruby now. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be like the day after, he's like got his little cave home, as the Reaper would come visit him, as he would already know like the deal he made with the nine-tailed fox, as he would obviously, he'd do that. He would give Kurama, he'd give Kurama his other half, as Kurama, Kurama's happy that he's whole again, and the Reaper would then look at Minato, or Ruby, but Minato, as he'd go, well, I guess you've probably come up with 2 situations. Either I've taken your son's soul because of the arrow the QB's blood caused, or that your daughter never had a soul in the beginning. So as Minto's like, he asked, and like, have you come to take my soul? He's like, I'm sorry, Minato, but I'm here to tell you that your son/daughter never had a soul in the beginning. She would have died an hour after birth. As Minato kind of just, he's just sad, because he's not gonna be, he's not gonna be with Kushina now, as he's like, I have already told your wife, Minato, that the reason why she can't find you. I told her that the second she came. So the second she came to the afterlife, I told her. As Minato's like, well, at least I didn't trade his soul for mine. And that was what I was most kind of worried about. In fact, that Naruto would never accept me for, would never accept my apology. But but now that I know that I didn't take his soul, and that I've got a second chance of life, a chance to do what I really do, want to do. As it's like, well, I think, of course, now from you'd say, well, also Minato, from now on, when you go into your mindscape, you will appear as, well, your daughter Ruby, as, you know, that's kind of funny, like, you know, a temporary placeholder until I came to see you and tell you, as Minato understands, as he's like, let's say, I understand. And yeah, of course, after a bit more talking, it'd also bring up the point, it's like, oh, and yeah, have fun with what, you know, mortal girls go through. Have fun with that, Minato. Or I should say Ruby now. Have fun with that. Yeah, as of course it like hasn't really hit Minato yet. Because yeah, as that was the last thing like on his mind. It wasn't even on his mind. To you guys are like, what do you mean that mortal girls go through what? It's like, well, if any of you guys out there that, you know what I'm on about, well then, you can give yourself a pat on the back. But yeah, as Minato just looks at it, it's like, what do you mean what mortal girls go through? It's like, he's like, I guess it was never on your mind. Well, understandable. Well, once you're around, I guess, 11 to 12 years old, maybe like 10, 11, 12 years old, you'll understand. You'll understand what I mean. As he goes, well, see ya. As he leaves us, Minto's like, what? As then it kind of hits him like a couple minutes later, as he's like, oh no, I'm gonna have to deal with what Kushina went through, the pain she went through, like 4 weeks, like it was every month 4 weeks straight. She always never really seemed happy. It's like, right, periods, girls have periods. She's just like, and of course my child is a girl, and so it kind of hits him as, yeah, I just kind of just goes, well, Minato, as Minato goes, no, don't call me Minato no more. Ruby was never alive to be with, and Ruby never had a soul, so call me Ruby now. He's like, well, fine then, Ruby. Be fun to watch you go through all that pain and handling it for your first time. Yeah. She just signs. And that's what I'm gonna end here, guys. So if you have enjoyed this, like if you enjoyed it so much, and listen, watch this, subscribe. I see you guys in the next What If Of Without Power Do, and hey, goodbye. No, good. Bye.